the phenomenal STEMist. Let's make sure we're in. I'm excited for this interview, and I had to make sure it was on Facebook. So I want to make sure it's on Facebook before I start. And let's see if I see it on Facebook. No, not on Facebook. Oh, yep, we're on Facebook now. There we
Yeah.
go. We're on Facebook now. Let me share it to my my group on Facebook and phenomenal STEMist, of course. It's important. And anyway, I'm so excited about this interview. Dr. Chinwe Umez, which is the maiden name, Iferibe. How you pronounce it?
Afuribe.
Aferibe.
You're close. You're close.
I was close, but too far. Too far. So excited, Dr. Iferibe. Um, it's been an amazing experience, and I really want to get into this interview. So we're gonna jump right in and discuss. Of course, you're gonna be able to introduce yourself. I hear a little bit of background, but a little choppiness.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too. It's like we're breaking off. But
Okay, it'll go away soon. But getting a little bit of homework done just to remind you guys. The book Phenomenal STEMist is on Amazon now. You can find it either there or directly um, on www.phenomenalstemist.com. All right, Chinwei, we're going to get right into this question right here. When did you fall in love with your discipline?
very, very good question. Good question. First of all, I'm excited to be here. I remember you as one of our biochem lab instructors from Oakwood, and yeah, you brought it to life, and yeah, it was just a joy learning the science and all like the chemical stuff with you. So I'm so happy to see you in this realm represent. When did I fall in love with my discipline? I guess I think of my discipline in different like categories because it was like, when did I fall in love with like science? When did I fall in love with medicine as a career? And then when did I fall in love with adolescent medicine, which is what my specialty is now, that I consider my discipline. But going back to like when I fell in love with science, it was just high school. My favorite subject was math. Loved me some calculus. Something about geometry wasn't all that great, but algebra, like, the ifs, thens, if, after, those kinds of like coding stuff, I really, really loved because I puzzle. So I loved math. Science was all right, but it really wasn't something I was drawn to until college. I was a biology major at Oakwood College, now university.
Whoop whoop.
Then, so it was one of those things where I was a biology major, and I would say that most people who at Oakwood are biology majors, it's an assumption that they're going to go into medicine. I wouldn't say that I fell in love with medicine per se until I did missionary work with, Dr. Paul and NAPS, because I think it was then that I really understood the importance. Before it was just like, oh, I need to do it because it's challenging and it stimulates my mind, but not necessarily the heart of like, oh, I want to help people and really heal. But when I did the missionary work, I realized that, in life, in order to inform the minds of people, you really have to heal their bodies. Like, no one's going to be able, retain any sort of like education or knowledge if they're tired or if they're in pain or if
They're
they're
hungry.
hungry or if they're, in any sort of distress, like physical or mental distress. And so it was then that I realized that, the body really is an avenue for us to expand mankind. And so I thought being a healer, a physician, really would be a way to go. So that's when I fell in love with medicine as a whole. I didn't really
And
know.
NAPS, just to let the people understand, NAP stands for the National Association for the Prevention of
Prevention.
Starvation, correct?
Yes, yes, the National Association
Yeah.
for the Prevention of Starvation, NAPS. Yeah, we went on missions locally. I went to Haiti during I think it was after my freshman year in college. Yeah, it was just life changing, I will say. And then it allowed me to think of, medicine not just as, an ambitious goal, but more so something that I wanted to do for myself. As a Nigerian, they're expecting you to be a doctor, lawyer, pharmacist, or whatever it is, and so, or an immigrant. I don't want to say Nigerian. They're always wanting you to exceed. But it was then that I took it on for myself, and I fell in love with it.
Got
And
it.
then yeah, and then lastly for the adolescent medicine part, because I liked working with young people, and I went into pediatrics at first. But I didn't really love just general pediatrics overall. I felt I needed I needed a little bit more challenging projects and other ways to address health. And it was during my pediatric residency that I was exposed to community health promotion, social determinants of health, school-based health centers where you were kind of doing public health and also addressing medical issues. And for me, that field was adolescent medicine, because teenagers, young people aren't necessarily physically sick or always sick as they were when they were younger, but their mental, their minds, and we'll get into it a little later, but like their behaviors, that for me was like, oh my goodness, it's a grand opportunity to be able to instill knowledge and skill set to be able to help them into adulthood. So that was how I got into adolescent medicine.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is um you fell in love with it when you began to serve people. That's what it sounds like. And then you got training for a specific population and you just connected with that population. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes,
So
that's exactly what it is. Yes.
okay, okay. So service and connection. All right, number 2. What tools did you use to discipline yourself to succeed in college, medical school, whatever you want?
Yeah. So it started for me in college. I don't know, high school was a blur to me in terms of like how I studied. I don't think I really learned like my study tools then, or like disciplining tools then. I knew I used to make to-do lists. I've always done to-do lists. Like I remember maybe like 8th grade, I had a to-do list of by the end of the year, I want to grow my hair longer. I want to do that, like little weird things I've seen, as I've cleaned up the house in different places. And so I think having a list and writing down list of goals has always been my go-to. Um, and so that's one of my tools, I think, is just being able to write things down. So where do I write things down now? Is in a planner. I think I've had so many versions of planners. At one point in fellowship, I tried. I know, right? Here's mine, girl. Yo, I'm addicted to planners. I'm addicted to planners. This one now that I use is called Panda Planner, and it allows you to also add in your lifestyle health goals and things that you're grateful for, things you're excited for, exercise. So it's a little bit more well-rounded than just like to-dos. But yeah, I'm very into like a planner. And so I tried digital, calendars only without having something that I write. There is science that backs the physical writing and how it connects and changes, neurologic connections to inform your executive functioning and execution. Like it's deep. So yeah, it's good to think about what you want to do and talk about what you want to do. But when you write down what you want to do, I think it really sets the pace. And I've noticed, like, whenever I have my goals written down, they're more likely to be accomplished. Second thing I do,
Wow.
is accountability. Like for me to be disciplined, to be able to succeed at anything, I've had to be vulnerable enough to tell somebody about my plans. And I think once I've done that, and it's of course you tell people that you know who are supportive and won't necessarily badger you, with like, why haven't you done this? I thought you said you don't do this. How come you ain't done that? It's more like, how's that book writing going? Or, oh, how's that, that clinic going? So this is one of those things where anything that was hard for me to accomplish, it was very, very intentional to let somebody know. And then the other was outlines and tables, and even just in Microsoft Word. Now I use Canva, but ways to articulate my thoughts and my ideas help me succeed. And so I put that into my discipline, I guess, routine. is I need to have something that's a visual of what my plans are. So once I write it down, then I get accountability, and I have to figure out, like, is it, is there a timeline? Is it a table? Is it an outline? Just A, B, C, and then the subheadings. But yeah, I have those for me to be able to function well. That's it.
I love these tools that you're giving me. Listen, write the vision, make it plain, write it down, organize your thoughts. Love it. Love these little tools. So important. Have an accountability partnership. Very important. Not a judger, but somebody that holds you accountable still. All right, next question. So, what were your challenges in school? What were your challenges?
Yes, my challenges. It's funny. I've I've watched others on your podcast talk about that and how there's some things that linger.
Till now? Hold on, you're frozen. Are you there?
Am I okay? Am I frozen?
You were frozen. So you didn't say I didn't hear anything. You said you watched the show before and you saw how sometimes it lingered even throughout your life till today. And then it got cut off. So tell me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've watched some of the podcasts where people talk about their challenges and how sometimes, it's some things are still consistent no matter how many new skills you develop. And so my challenges then are in a different way the same as my challenges now, but my challenges back then was just my extracurricular activities. I think I was and I wouldn't call myself an extrovert. I just love connecting with people. And so I think it was easy for me to be in the pre-dental club, in student government, in NAPS, and I'll never forget the day there was a student government event that I put together, and I missed class. I missed Dr. Guebu's biochem class, and I came to him because I need to make up an exam, and he said, "No one told you to go save the world."
Oh, that's my man, Dr. Graybu.
Yo, I love that man. He taught me. He said, no matter what you're doing, you still have to really focus on what's important. And at the end of the day, this, like this, you have to prioritize you, and reorganize and put value to the other things that you're spending time on. So yeah, I think back then it was just, I was doing a lot. I was doing a lot.
You were doing too
Yeah.
much. You were doing too much. And there's nothing wrong with extracurricular activities. I mean, the reason why I know you is probably because you're extracurricular. I don't remember teaching you, to be honest. I didn't know you were in my biochem lab. No, but it makes sense though. Like I don't remember. It's been so long. But I guess that's where I feel like I saw you everywhere. Like you were in everything, and I always saw you. But maybe the reason why I know you so much is because I taught you. Who knew? Who knew? Sorry, it's been so long ago. It's been so long.
That's
But
okay. That's okay. It's okay. It's yeah.
but to your point, too much extra stuff can be distracting. Yeah, yeah.
Too much extra
Okay.
stuff. So much so, because I'll be real, it affected me as I was studying for the MCAT. When I was in school, because and again, it's one of those things where you don't really, you think that you need to build your resume and have all these other things on here to boost you up, but you have to be, I guess, intentional. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good. I'm talking about Maxine. She says, "Wow, you taught her." I did teach lab in college. I taught biology lab, organic lab, and biochemistry lab. So yeah, I did teach labs. So I know it's true. I'm just saying, it's all a blur in terms of who. Good luck to all of you who made it out, because I was a student teaching other students. I'm only a year older than Jen, but I wasn't teaching her directly. I taught her lab. It's a difference.
Yes,
Yeah,
her last. You were a TA.
I was basically a TA. Go ahead.
You're not that old.
TA
You're
with
not
no
that
bachelor's
old.
degree, but whatever. Go ahead. What you were
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, it's yeah. With my MCAT, it was. I think that you know, I mean, thank God I got into med school eventually, but my first attempt at taking the MCAT, the medical college admissions test, for those who are not familiar, it's one of the tests that you have to take after college to get into med school. They use it as one of the measures to enroll you in medical school. And I feel that, I don't think I was present enough to only, commit myself to study for the exam. And I don't know if it was part of my inattention or something, because I feel like I have a little bit of some attention dysfunctions. But I think, it was a challenge. But now, with board exams, it's me really trying my best to find time to separate and not, like think about myself and not feel like I need to meet the needs of so many other obligations around me. And knowing that, it doesn't eat, sleep, study kind of thing. When I when I took USMLE exams, I passed on the first attempt because I was in England and I was all by myself, and I ate, slept, and studied. Ate, slept, and studied. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So, what are your challenges now? So first, I want you to tell me a little bit what you do. You're fresh off the heels of your grand opening of your brand new clinic. So proud of you. Um, so tell me what your challenge is now. Tell me what you do and what are your challenges.
Yes. Very good point. I think it's me recognizing. So, in my new role now, I have to wear many hats as the owner of the clinic, manage the business side of the clinic, managing the medical side of it, and also make sure that I'm having legal compliance in line with with the clinic. And so, and managing human resources, because it's meant to be small. It's a direct primary care, primary specialized care for youth and young adults, and it's meant to be small enough to manage, but still professional and still provide the expertise that you would get in any traditional clinic. And so a lot of us are learning the business side of medicine, not just the medical medications or treatment plans and guidance and counseling. It's like, oh no, I need to make sure that the space is accommodating to regulations. I need to make sure that my credentialing is up to date and monitor that. And of course, you have helpers. I have so many, mind you, I have so many helpers. So it's managing those helpers, it's managing the team, and making sure that I articulate enough of what only I can do versus what I can delegate to other people to be able to carry out. And I think it's just, again, finding, because I feel like I can do anything I put my mind to.
Like you did with in college, USM, pre-dental club, NAPS, pre-science club. I mean, maybe the very fault that you have is at is what can help you do these things.
I think that's,
So-called faults.
yeah, I know. It's definitely taken more maturity to manage that asset that can also be a curse, is that it allows me to be open-minded enough to connect with, like, finance. Like, I've been taking business and finance courses. I'm just like, oh, this is so fun. I should have been,
Mhm.
so I'm just like, whoa. I need to focus. You're a medical person first. You just need to know this so that when you have your accountant focus on it, then you can have them, you know what they're talking about when they're asking the question. Like, you have a general understanding of what to expect. But not that I feel like, oh no, I have to make sure that all the books are in line every single time. Like, that's my challenge, is knowing when to set that boundary of, I know enough to have a conversation versus I'm doing the work, because I can't do physically, mentally, I can't do
It
all the work that it takes to maintain a clinic. But I'm definitely, and I feel like, thank God, and only God, that I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable in my skill set. I'm comfortable in knowing what I can't do, and knowing what I need to outsource. And then I'm also comfortable knowing what I can do, what I like to do, but I just don't have the time to do it, and knowing, how to seek help for that too. So I think that's the main thing. But yeah, I'm excited, and it's great to always learn about yourself in different situations and different circumstances. But that sense of like community, that sense of teamwork and collaboration, I think I love. Yeah, I love.
Yeah, I see a question out here. I'm gonna mute you right now because I think there's a little feedback with. So, I like this question from Maxine. My daughter hates science, and so do I. How can I get more engaged with science? Well, of course, you could, have her join my phenomenal STEM year camp. Like she just no grades, no tests, just science, right? But do fun. How old is she? How old is she? I would like to know how old she is. But do fun things with her where there's no tests and no grades and no punishment. What do you think, Chinwe?
Yeah,
You
I
there?
love that. Can you hear me now?
Mhm.
I love that question because it reminds me of my daughter. My daughter's 8. She's reading, and so I'm giving you an example of what I kind of used to get over. She hates reading. Like me asking her to take 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever the teacher is asking her to do for her reading assignment, she hates doing that. She cries. And then, but I other things that she gets really excited about doing. She loves making videos. She loves like role playing. She loves like she's just very like dramatic, very artistic young lady. And so I asked her to do that was able to allow her to do the reading, but also do it in a fun way, where she was engaged with it. Is that I asked her to read a book, but then read it with the plans of doing a book review on video so that it can be posted on YouTube. Tell me
Nice.
why this lovely lady like read how many books she read through because she was excited that she was going to get to do this little video. and it was so cute hearing her. Like I'll be in the kitchen now, I hear her doing these recordings, and she's like, "All right, guys, welcome to my channel. The book that we're reading today is," and yeah, it's about.
Wow.
So I felt like it's like with science, it's like thinking about one stepping aside and seeing what your child loves to do naturally. Because I think that's the main way that you're really going to get their attention. You have an open window is to meet them where you already find that sort of like natural, inert energy, right? When you find that, then again, it takes us to be creative. How can we get her or him, whoever, your daughter in this case, how can we get your daughter to kind of tie in this other part that's a little bit boring or not as dynamic, and then mix it with what it is that they do like. And so I think YouTube, I say YouTube is very creative and gives some options. Googling, you can Google different ways, like to say, how can I get my daughter to, like science? I'm sure other people are having that same challenge.
Same issue.
But
Yeah.
for me, and I use this in my clinic and when I work with young adults and adolescents, it's finding their joys first. When you find their joys first, then you connect it with the requirement, right? And you'd be surprised how far they'll take it because they'll be more innovative, they can be more creative, and then one, it's sustainable because it comes from them. It comes from them and how they really want to, play it out as opposed to I'm doing it because my mom said I got to do it, or that
Right.
like we did. I mean, growing up, there was no innovation. Just do it, and But I think nowadays there's just so much. There's so many avenues to learn how to adapt certain things. Even for example, learning the 10 Commandments. I know I've tried just having them read it, singing songs, but I found online, hand signals like that, hand signs, and ways that like impress upon their memory each of the days. This is one. This is two. Don't bow down. Another image. This is 3. Don't steal. Like, and then they loved it. It's like it's a way to get them moving. Again, kinetic energy. I'm not a kinesiologist, one of my friends is, but there's something about movement, and how that really does impress on the mind, whatever task is at hand. So I would say try to find a way to make that science, whether it's a science, topic or project, make it into like an activity, make it into like something experimental, just that awe and wonder. Every young person is always interested in like, who, what, like how. So I think finding a way, but I'm sure Dr. By's got you in her program.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like she's 12. She's this is the time of fear. She's afraid of math. She's afraid of science. Okay, she's in middle school. And fear blocks enjoyment. So you want to make it fun, trips, and I have all kinds of ideas that you could do. Yeah, Maxine, thanks so much for being a part of that. All right, so you told me your challenges. Now, what's your favorite part of your career?
My challenges or my what I like.
You did you tell me your challenges now?
Yeah,
you already
my challenges now.
So what is the
Trying to not do too
juggle
much.
too much? Yeah. So what's your favorite part of your career?
My favorite part by far is when I get to work with young people on certain.
Hold on. I just let's work with your volume because or I just it's worse. What you just did made it worse. So go back the other way. Go ahead.
I muted it and unmuted it.
Okay, you're good now.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry, everyone. Audio. um, yeah, what I love now, of course, is when I get to work with young people on whether it's a project or see how their life goals, like their lifestyle health goals, are being realized, and how excited they get in being able to say, "Oh, Dr. E, guess what? This happened. Oh, Dr. E, remember you said I should. You remember that? I've done it now." And seeing how they're proud of their achievements. So I work with some college students who also help with the clinic because I really want it to be youth informed and friendly. And so that's not going to come from my old head. I have to engage with those who are closer to my patients. And so I have a phenomenal team. Some you'll see on my website, my youth navigators. There's an extension of that where there's some pre-health students that I work with. And it's amazing watching these young people like flourish. I made a pact to myself that I do any like public speaking about youth engagement or about my clinic, that I partner with the young person to do that. And that's been amazing to see them kind of rise to the occasion and just wow the audiences as we talk about different ways to engage youth for wellness. But yeah, I just love their aspect of hey, we've been missing this in our childhood. I love to see this happen for the next generation. And so I just love being part of that group because they're malleable, their minds are still kind of fresh, they still have a lot of that altruistic, they haven't been beaten down by the system enough.
Life.
So they keep going, they prevent my burnout in the medical system because I remind myself that I'm doing this for the next generation. I'm doing this really to empower the young people as they become adults themselves. So yeah, that's my favorite part, really.
I think you have a fan here. Howard Duncan is like, is that Dr. Chinway? But to your point, like, it sounds like you're connecting your love of service again to this, and I'm excited about what you're doing. So just to remind us a little bit more about your adolescent medicine clinic and where it is and where your fans like Howard Duncan can find you, things like that.
Sure thing. Yes, I'm highly excited to birth this baby. It's been, oh my goodness, years in the making. I think the idea of having my own clinic never would have dawned on me during during training. I think it was when I finished my residency and I was doing my fellowship, I was seeing patients in, at University of Minnesota. I was seeing patients there. But then on the weekends, I was AY director at church. AY, for those of you who may not know, is Adventist Youth, AYS, Adventist Youth Society. It's just the equivalent of our Boys and Girl Scout for the Adventist population. But yeah, so I was AY director for like over 6 years. And it was just me, seeing how the young people, were just eager to connect for one, eager to work together, and as it relates to health, eager to learn more about how to take charge of their health. I saw that more here in the community than I was able to pull out in my individual one-on-one visits in the clinic. And I think it was then that I realized, like, how can I merge these two worlds? How could I have like a clinical AYS in a
Wow.
way? And so it was then that I started trying to think of different. So wherever I worked, because I never thought about me doing it on my own. It was just wherever I work, we've just got to make sure that we have, youth-informed practices, and making sure that our environment is youth-friendly. And so I didn't know that there were different initiatives going on elsewhere in the nation that were also trying to work that. Because being patient-centered is very important to health outcomes, but there's this now nuanced approach to who the patient is. Most times, even in pediatrics, the patient is really the parent who's responding on behalf of the child. But with adolescents, we need to find a way to get their input, because if we don't get their input and they get into college, and there's research showing that when young people get into young adulthood, they drop in terms of health services, but then they emerge in adulthood with all these lifestyle, conditions, problems, diabetes, that's a nutrition, physical activity, mind, mental wellness, that's all tied and related. Yes, there's some genetic components to it, but majority is lifestyle related. Heart attacks, number one, cause of morbidity is, again, related to lifestyle. And when you learn all these lifestyles, right here during adolescence. And so what our clinic is aiming to, so I was thinking about, really transforming clinics to be youth-friendly, to have patients be considered as the adolescents themselves, for those who are able to, even at 5 years old, there are young people who can be able to say, oh yeah, I have asthma. I need to know when I need to take my asthma medication, or these are my triggers for asthma, or I need to make sure if I have a peanut allergy that I don't, expose myself to these certain things. So it's really empower them to think for themselves and be more self-aware about their health, and them skills to be able to communicate that to others and to manage their time to do it. So that's what our clinic is doing. It's based in Maynard, Texas, which is in Austin area. We're right on the border of Austin, Elgin, Texas, Hutto, Pflugerville, Round Rock. So it's here. Our hours are on the website. The website is centeredyouth.com. Centered, like past tense. And the idea of centered is holistic. It is grounding. It's knowing that there's so many things that affect your health, and we as healthcare providers need to consider that academics can affect your health, because if you don't have education that allows you to gain certain level of wealth, that can affect your healthcare access. And so it's just a lot of things. So in my clinic, we're going to be asking you about your classes. We're going to offer tutoring if you need it, because we feel like that connection is important to your health, and we are just only deferring to the schools. So we partner with schools as well to do that. But if we're only deferring to the schools, and if your school is failing or not meeting the expectations that you need, then we feel that it's our responsibility to be able to support our patients to be in good health. And being in good health is being centered, is being well-rounded. So that's Centered Youth, CYCC.
Did I spell it right? Centeredyouth.com on the thing. I'm not sure, but listen, I think about myself and all my bad dietary habits that I have, like skipping breakfast. I learned it in adolescence. In high school. I think about it. I'm thinking about what you're saying, and then in college, I never went to the doctor. Like I just that mid area, that 16 to 21, like, you learn a lot of bad habits, but oh my goodness, and so your service to this demographic is empowering, and I'm realizing how crucial it is. I've never even thought of adolescent medicine because they just call it pediatrics. Usually it's pediatrics all the way till adult, and but this that section of pediatrics should not be ignored anymore. And so you created a clinic. I realized it, and I only recognized it now because of you. Because truthfully, you're the first adolescent medicine specialist I've ever heard of. But it's very, very important. I'm realizing how important it is based on this conversation.
Yay. I'm glad. That's the goal. We're trying to spread the word, man. Spread the word. I mean, there's an organization called the Society for Adolescent Health and Men that's been, in existence for over 30 years, trying to, create awareness for adolescent medicine as its own entity and specialty. And I think it's definitely now high time that we make it more mainstream.
High time. Yeah. We have somebody asking if you can speak at their church. I guess most likely on Zoom. They have a really good Zoom program at Jamaica Seventh Adventist. Oh wait, no, I don't think you're at Jamaica anymore. You're at Queensboro, Maxine, in New York City, I'm sure.
Just feel free to on our website. There is an opportunity to connect with us, and so just feel free to connect and send any information on there because we do consulting work on the side. I say on the side, but one of the things that I wanted to think about with the clinic is I know why clinics are busy is that their only source of revenue is patients, and so they're having to see so many patients within a day that they don't really have enough time to do the education and do the counseling because that's their only source. So for me, with this clinic, I added the consulting aspect of it so that I don't depend too much on patient revenue, so that I am spending time with the patients, as needed. We don't have back to back. We don't stack our patient appointments. But on the side, I love teaching. I love educating. I love public speaking with groups because I feel like there's real synergy in getting groups of people to understand certain concepts and then be able to support each other to kind of carry that out. So I'm more than happy to do any sort of outside speaking on behalf of me.
All right, she's like, yeah, no doubt. Queensboro Temple, um, um, uh, Philly, New Life. Y'all just make sure that you get that treasury office to slide some consultancy fees. You know what I'm saying? All right. Listen, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, Dr. Chinwe Eferebe. Listen, it's been an amazing experience talking to you. And I learned a lot about adolescent medicine, and I hope everybody out here has done the same. I am the phenomenal STEMist, and so is she. Good night, everybody.